Back to another episode of Getting Together Garage. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of the 76 Pontiac Trans Am upgrade. We're going to actually install the posi unit this time with the new 342 gear ratio. We're going to be giving this thing some you can get. And we have this here. This is our posi unit. She gonna be fun, you know? Like, it's like, well, that wasn't supposed to happen, actually. I'm just kidding you. This is the actual one right here. This is the actual one right here. I was just kicking that one around, literally. But, yeah, stick around. You're might learn a thing or two about a thing or two here, but we'll get you going on it. I might learn another thing or two about a thing or two. But yeah. Before I get going into it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment about whatever you want. You know, anything goes. But let's get to it. Alright, so let's get this thing lifted up, and I think I'm just going to lift up the back end of this just to see if I can get better working space underneath the back end over here. Because once the back end's lifted up and the front end's facing down, actually the bumper will be up higher than the back or than the front. So we'll see if that'll give us any more clearance to work underneath of this. So we're going to go ahead. That one, and so what we're going to do from here is we're going to get the wheels off, we're going to take the drive shaft off, and then we're going to take the drums off, and then after that we are going to get the differential cover off, and we're probably going to loosen the we're going to wait to loosen the axles till tomorrow, because I want to be losing where parts were, just to keep a better track on where everything has to go back. So we're going to go on ahead and get all this stuff taken apart real quick, and let's get to it. There. I might have to drop this muffler back down. Son of a gun. That's going to give her a little purse way. If we don't come off with this, we ain't going to last nicely. That's the bottom line pretty much right there. But it'd be good enough. Let's go. Get out. There it is. Easy. Back in. And we're gonna go and get the bolts off of this rain cover and see what's underneath this mystery we have here. Because I'm curious now. Performance package to it already, which is why it actually had better sway, or it had sway bars, but these are actually a aftermarket sway bar on here. But yeah, these also came with the posis too, for the lower gear or higher gear ratio if you're thinking about whichever way. But that explains that tag I seen. But we're gonna go and buzz these off. We still have one of these. Use limited slip differential lube only. Use limited slip differential lube only. So what we're going to do now is the messy but fun part. Going ahead and crack this case open. Let's see what we get. We're getting somewhere. Oh, there we go. Okay. Beautiful. That is a posi. Not a good one, but it's one. Look at that. And this is relatively really clean, so that's a really good sign. Nice. as you just see me pulling this in and out a couple times, we were just trying to get the spacing right for the backlash and for the pinion seating. So there's a couple parts in the pinion part over here, which when you put it together, you're pretty much pressing it through the bearing back here. So you're trying to get the right amount of spinning force, which was the tool you seen me using, was the resistance of a new bearing. So they're between 19 and 16 is the inch-pounds rating of what these two bearings in here should be facing, or be seating at. And if it's a used pinion and crushed collar, they should be around 6 and 10. So this is just right on the edge of being just good enough and a little tight, but it'll be just fine. So it's spinning. But now that we have all that, we figured that out, then we had to find out what the spacing was going to be for the pinion here, or the carrier itself. So we were able to reuse one original shim over here, but then the other side we had to take some out and slide it over to get the pattern on the ring gear figured out so that it was riding good. So our gear here, which is hard to tell on some of them, but it's actually riding just where we need it to be, which is pretty much right in the center of each tooth. So that's good. So we got everything buttoned up finally. All we have to do now is get all this cleaned up, all the old gasket. We can get the cover back on, get that cleaned up. And then we got new axle seals and bearings, just because you have it this far apart, you might as well. So then we're going to get everything buttoned up, cleaned up, and then we'll get to the suspension. It's not the hard, easy parts done. We can do the real hard, easy part over here. You know, something over here. We're going to have to get these bad boys slapped in, unfortunately, but fortunately, these springs correct right there. So, and these ones aren't looking too stable otherwise, because they're looking all cattywampus. Same on the other side. So we're going to have to replace these, which honestly aren't that bad, but won't be the worst, because you got to take out, there's I believe 3 bolts right here to hold this spring perch up. And then back in here, we're going to have to take off the bolt that holds the leaf spring in up here, which we might have to take the one that goes to the frame out too, to be able to get it out. I'm not sure yet. I don't remember how I did it on my other car, which is what these springs are out of. So I'm gonna get these out and I'll update you guys when I get them out. So alright, we're back with the updates now. So usually when you're doing these, sometimes these can be a real pain in the rear. You know what I'm talking about, because you know these are usually dry rotted, which luckily this one is not. But these bolts here usually rust inside of these bushings and are a pain in the butt to get out. But this one shockingly was not dry rotted nor rusted out that bad. All you got to do now is just get this cover off here, clean it up, and we can slap in the new ones once the bushings come in. So yeah, we got both sides out. Gonna do some cleanup underneath here, just a little bit, just to cover some stuff up, clean it up, make it good, and we're good to slap this in and to get the rear end bolted back in too as well. So yeah, making good progress. We're just gotta get stuff cleaned up tomorrow and we're good to go. So I'll see you in the morning. Alright, so we got everything cleaned up, painted. Just gonna let it dry now for the next day. Got everything swapped over to the new leaf springs and everything cleaned up and NICs and ready to rock and roll. All we gotta do now is pretty much assemble it. So we might actually just even bolt the rear end to the leaf spring on both for each of them, just kind of move it under the car and bolt it up, and then just kind of have everything go in as one unit to make it a little bit easier, possibly. We'll have to see how that goes, but yeah, she's ready to go back in. Fill it up with oil once it's in the car, and good to go. So I'll get it back to you guys whenever I get everything together. So. Well, yep, that's something. We got something back together. Don't know if it works yet, because, you know, still waiting on this here weather to break. But, yeah. She can grip them right now. Well, that's what the whole ideal B of D, you know, is. But as you've seen here, we also put some traction bars, you know. It keeps these tires here planted, you know. You want to keep them on pavement at all times to get the most powers out of them, you know. That's pretty much about it, though. Yeah. Gotta wait to get these wheels here spinning. Make sure we have no noises, no odd noises. And then once we get a little bit of rain to wash us all the way out here in the bird, you know, we'll take her out onto the streets and see how she does there. But I'm gonna show you guys real quickly what these traction bars are. So these traction bars are literally stopper bars. Well, that's all it is. So what they do is when you get the rear end, when you get it up in the higher RPMs and you're getting all the torque moving to the axle, it twists the leaf springs. So what this does is prevent the leaf springs from warping too much and allows the rear end to stay firmly planted to the pavement. So as you can see, it just goes right in place of the original rear end mounts and sway bar mounts. And literally goes right in place of them, both sides. And the best thing is about these ones that they actually blend in pretty well. I mean, you can't really notice. I mean, from out here, you can hardly even notice them, which is what I was actually looking for, luckily. And at the most, they will pull their rear end down about an inch from what it actually is. But this has airbag or air shocks in them, so it lifted the rear end up back up that little inch. But the only problem is it'll fight a little bit, but not that much. So it'll still stay planted. And it's sitting about right where we wanted it when we had it on the ground. But hopefully they will do their job and keep this thing planted the way I want them to be. Or when we take it out on the street to make sure that it's doing really good, you know. But yeah, it's something. And in case somebody out there is working on one of these F bodies here, and you have a aftermarket shifter or an aftermarket shifter cable, check this right here. If you have a lot of play and you can't get it down in the first gear, this will most likely be your problem, because this whole mechanism is moving the whole shifter back and forth and not allowing it to shift in the first gear, which is what we were having. So we got an original one and we threw that in, and that tightened the shifter right up. So in case one of you guys out there or ladies are messing with the automatic shifters for a TH350, be assured to check this to make sure that if you're playing your shifter, it's not the cable. I myself was dealt for it first thinking it was the cable, but now that I see that there's that little mechanism in there, it'll definitely cause some play in the shifter and not allow you to get that ripper gear, you know, number one, you know. But yeah, now it's just tight, since we had to do some stuff on that too. But yeah, everything went together well, luckily. And all we're doing now is playing a waiting game till the weather breaks and we can get these cars out on the street for you guys to see what they're about. And I'll do a better walk around when we get this outside to see what this car is and where it came from, what it looked like before we got it. And yeah, I'll show you guys a story on this and a few other ones that we have floating around these parts here. But stick around. You'll see some more nifty projects. Some EFIs possibly. But yeah, that's about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, drop them their comments and like the video for me. Every little bit counts. Helps a brother out, or a guy, whatever you want to call somebody like us, dude here, this dude. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.